KHTS.com or find us on social media at KHTS Radio.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care, Advanced Audiology, and Santa Clarita Hearing Center. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Gene Dorio.
On your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, our guest this morning is Dr. Marwa Kilani, who is a palliative care doctor. Welcome, doctor. It's good to talk to you.
Oh, great. Thank you for having me. How are you guys?
Welcome, Mara.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, doing great. Doing great.
It is trying times, isn't it? Though.
Oh my God.
That's an understatement.
Yes.
An absolute understatement.
During
when
this
is this
pandemic.
year going to be over?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's interesting. You know, Dr. Dorio's at home. You, doctor, are probably in your office. I'm in the studio. And it's to me, it's very frustrating. I'm a person-to-person person, not a telephone-to-telephone person.
Me too. I'm a total hugger. I shook somebody's hand the other day and apologized.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I know. It's a really tough time.
Well, and unfortunately, our older adults are faced with a dilemma as well as their caregivers. And isn't it so important that we make sure that everyone has a discussion about end of life to make sure that those around us know exactly what our wishes are?
Oh, that's just absolutely true. And I know that we've had conversations about that on our previous episodes, but in particular this time really reflects the importance of having good, meaningful conversations with our loved ones, just about what's important to us, what means quality of life, and giving our loved ones directive as to how to proceed with certain situations. So this time in particular it's more pressing to have those conversations.
When we have the threat of this illness upon us, and we know how our seniors sometimes don't do as well, and the highest mortality rate in the population is with the seniors now. So we all have to be prepared, not just the individual themselves, but as well those around them. It's really important. So what are the things that you think are necessary as a part of that discussion that should be brought forward so that there's clarity if someone should become ill enough to be in a hospital or ICU setting?
I think in order to be clear to our loved ones, it's important to tell them what is important to the individual. So, first of all, if, God forbid, anyone gets sick to the point of needing to be in the hospital, we need to know immediately who can speak on that person's behalf. That is the first and foremost important thing that needs to be determined. Who represents that person the best? It does not have to be a spouse. It does not have to be a child. It could be a sister, a sibling. It could be a neighbor who knows that person very well. It could be a best friend. And in fact, we have had encounters with families where the best friend was making the decision, not the husband. But it's because the best friend had been having these conversations with that patient. So first and foremost, who is speaking on behalf of that individual? Secondly, what does quality of life mean to you? Does quality of life mean living at all costs? That means even if, you're burdened by life support or artificial nutrition or, you name it. There's several different elements that could be factored in. Or does quality of life mean spending time with your loved ones, being able to communicate with them, being able to experience your spirituality in a way that's meaningful to you? So all of those things need to be determined and be discussed in advance. And ideally, we would love to have a document representing all these elements so that we could, have it in writing. And that really kind of, seals it for our patients. And it just helps helps all of our providers provide the best care possible for each individual.
So most of our listeners know that they want to have a document like power of attorney that designates who will make those decisions. And that's important to have that paperwork done prior to illness. And this is when you're healthy, this is the time to do it.
That's correct.
So I don't want to raise alarm, but I do want to say that clarity in the California state law is not what you might think it is. That when you go into the hospital, you have to reveal and show your documentation, your legal documentation. If you don't have that, then you have to verbally, orally, tell the hospital what you want done. That is what the law says. If you're not able, you're not awake or conscious, or you're ill, oxygen level is low or something, and you're not able to tell anyone what your wishes are and who's the designee, then you would think that the law in the state allows the husband or wife, the children, even a best friend to make that decision. But the state law in California does not do that, surprising to most people. And what we have to do, and I know this is a fact because I am working with the California Senior Legislature to help change the law. In 43 states in the United States, out of 50, it's a logical it's logical to have a known decision making like the spouse or children to make decisions, and it follows in that order, but not in the state of California.
No.
So we are trying to make changes and make sure that people have that documentation. Just like you said, Dr. Kilani, you want to have the documentation and you want to do it right now.
Yes, and you don't have to be a senior to do it. You just have to be an adult over 18, and it's important to complete that document. And of course, things will change over the years and over the decades. and it is expected that your wishes may change as well. So it's important to reflect on that document every couple years, every few years, typically around tax time, which seems to be a great time to do it. National Healthcare Decision Day is the day after Tax Day, which is April 16th, and it's a great day to reflect on that, to make sure that your paperwork is up to speed, your surrogate is hopefully still living, because that also affects surrogate decision making when the person who is completing the document and their loved one who is supposed to be making surrogate decisions is no longer with us. So you want to make sure that there are people in place to speak on your behalf and know you well. But I agree, the state law is really confusing. It just says vaguely, whoever knows that person the best. I mean, that's just so vague. And not only is it vague, but it can cause a bit of controversy amongst family members.
Well, that's very true.
Legally also, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So, you want your wishes followed, and if you want your wishes followed, you have to have that discussion. And if anything you take away from this program right now will be to sit down with your family members or write it down and start coming up with your decision making beforehand, as opposed to waiting till you start becoming ill and you can't transmit that information to your loved ones.
And having it in writing, in my opinion, is extremely important. And having it witnessed.
Yeah, having it witnessed, it does not have to be notarized. The nice thing about these documents, they're all free on the internet. And I was just recently reading about the different electronic medical records that are supporting advanced care planning, such as the Cerner electronic record, Epic, which is the electronic record that we use here in Providence and also at other health systems like Kaiser and Cedars-Sinai and UCLA. Also supports advanced care planning, and it's a document that could easily be scanned into any health provider system. Maybe one day our state will have a database, but at this time we don't have one, which would be, I think, very helpful.
Absolutely. So let's maybe change the subject a little bit, but you're at Holy Cross. Henry Mayo is here in our community as well. They're hospitals, but we all know that when you have a loved one in the hospital, you can't visit them. And that has become a hardship, especially an emotional hardship for those who are at end of life. So how is that affecting decision making? How is that affecting patients' emotions? What have you seen, Dr. Kilani, that within the patients that you have worked with and families you have worked with, what have you seen that about this non-visitation that you feel has impacted even decision making, but also the emotions of the people around us?
Absolutely. It is. I can't tell you, these last, what has it been, close to 7 months now, have been so difficult, so challenging because of the lack of visitation. In general, I think our patients struggle. They struggle without their family support. And at end of life, of course, those patients are just typically taken care of just by our hospital staff, and our hospital staff have really stepped up and become a surrogate family to those individuals. We at Holy Cross fortunately have a very supportive administrative team that has allowed for end-of-life visitation. And even most recently, we have allowed for end-of-life visitation for our COVID patients, because we recognize the importance of that end-of-life journey, that experience for the patient as well as the family members.
Absolutely.
And to have closure.
Absolutely.
And to have closure.
Yes.
We did have to limit it, though, to 10 members of a family, because at one time we had 20 family members standing outside of our emergency room door waiting to come in to see a family member, and so we actually had to restrict it to 10 individuals.
Mm-hmm. You mean all at one time?
No, we rotate them through 2 at a time.
I see.
And we give them sufficient time so that they have, some meaningful experience with their loved one. We do an extensive amount of virtual visits with our iPads, using different platforms, Zoom, Duo, Skype, FaceTime, and our staff are very well trained on that. And we do our best. We really do our best. Even for those patients who are on ventilators, we have had our families able to connect with their loved ones virtually through video screen.
Yeah, but there's nothing more rewarding than physical presence.
Absolutely.
There really isn't. All of that stuff is. It's fine to have, and it's necessary for people who can't get out. But for those who can, to visit that loved one at a time when they are so lonely, that physical closeness is what means a lot. It really does. And we need to take a break now. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
There are many memorable restaurants in Santa Clarita, but 3 words stand out from the crowd. Mom can cook.
Mamá puede cocinar.
Mom can cook the best Thai food on this side of the planet.
Mama fait la cuisine.
No matter what language you use, Mom Can Cook says it all. Thai food at its finest, all your favorite dishes, and Mom's very own original specialties. Experience it on Soledad by the Canyon Country Post Office.
Mama 요리가 좋대요.
Mom Can Cook.
Hi, this is Kirk Stinson with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber. By this time, you should know where all your gas and water shutoff valves are in case of an emergency. If you don't, you should call Plumbing by Kirk. Our friendly staff will be more than happy to set an appointment for one of our technicians to come to your home and clearly mark all your shutoff valve locations. We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Call Plumbing by Kirk.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS, or call 800-973-3927 and use the promo code KHTS. That's 800-973-3927 or MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS. KHTS.
Owning Corporation, Equal Housing Lender, licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 1797976. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions.
Hey, Gary, anything new with you?
Bud, can you believe it? I just crushed my mortgage payment again with owning. But this is the last refi for me.
Why?
Because I got a 15-year fixed rate at 1.99%, 2.172 APR. Can you believe that?
Get your last mortgage refi from Owning and own your home free and clear in 180 months. Just call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com and ask for your last refi at today's 15-year fixed 1.99%, 2.172 APR. That's 15-year fixed at 1.99%, 2.172 APR.
Why not get your last refi from Owning? You just got to call 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com. That's 855-5-OWNING or go to owning.com.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com. Located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Goldhurst, Head of Operations for Burger King North America. Throughout this time, we've taken steps to take care of our guests.
And since we know many of your jobs have been affected by this crisis,
we want to help make sure you're taken care of too.
If you are looking for work, we are hiring.
And there's a spot on our team for you.
We know that we'll get through this together, as long as we keep taking care of each other.
For more information, call 253-3283. That's 253-3283.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with Dr. Marwa Kilani, a palliative care doctor. And we've covered quite a bit of information, very important information, especially about end-of-life instructions, which is very, very important. And I'm sure, Jean, you can relate to this as much as anyone can.
You know, I practice palliative and hospice care. So, you know, I have a background in this as well. And, of course, being highly involved in the senior community, not only in Santa Clarita, but in LA County, as well as the state. I think it's important that our seniors are educated and aware of what they can make sure, what the laws say they should be doing to make sure that their care is what they want. But going back to the issue related to visitation, I just think that that Holy Cross having a plan and a protocol for visitation is great. It's humane. This is what you want. And I know a lot of hospitals are doing this, but they're not quite yet. They have not set up known protocol for it. Right now, government is looking to establish how businesses will open, how schools will open, but they haven't really looked at how hospitals can open for visitation. And I think a necessary part of what government should do is they should be looking at the ways and criteria so that loved ones can visit their ill relatives in a hospital setting. And how we go about doing this, I really don't know yet. Do you know, Dr. Kilani, how Holy Cross, through the palliative care program, has evolved into allowing some visitation?
Yeah. Actually, we've had multiple discussions about this topic. I'm one of the members of the COVID Clinical Task Force for our hospital, and visitation is always a point of major discussion. So what we have found is throughout our region and throughout our system, every hospital is doing something different. And it really depends on how badly they've been affected by COVID. Our hospital has been one of those hospitals that has had a tremendously high census of COVID-19 patients. However, we also have a very deep, a very amazing community that we need to serve. And so we've been very, very committed to visitation, particularly around end of life, which we've established and it has been very well vetted out. Visitation in general has improved as well for our patients who are in the acute rehab unit, particularly around the points of education and family training. So that is something that has been extremely important for our families. Of course, we have visitation around our labor and delivery, our maternal health, and also our NICU. And that's been ongoing and has not skipped a beat. Now, when we talk about general visitation, we still are being asked by our leadership to hold off on routine visits, but we do have a plan in place that we hope to implement soon once we are given the permission by our region to proceed. And what we foresee is general visitation. However, it is going to be limited. We typically get very large families coming to visit their loved ones here in our hospital. This is a huge community hospital, and our community loves to come and spend time with their family members here. But unfortunately, it's going to be very restricted. We're talking 1 or 2 individuals only, and we're talking maybe just a couple hours a day. So we're working on a plan, and we have some ideas already out, but we've been advised by our regional leadership to just pace ourselves because our numbers are still pretty profound in regards to our COVID-19 census. So
how do you go about educating the visitors in terms of maintaining sterility and safety for everybody, the staff, themselves, their loved ones? Do you have a video that you show them? Do you give them a sheet of paper to delineate what the rules are? And how do you do that? And then in conjunction with PPEs, I mean, we know that PPEs are few and far between, even for hospital staff members. How do you regulate those, the personal protective equipment, and allow the visitors to utilize those PPEs that, sometimes hospital staff need?
We actually found, I know that Providence in general has put out information to the community as to how to protect themselves when they do come into the healthcare setting. And that goes from Basie Medical Group all the way to Holy Cross, in the inpatient setting, and even to our outpatient services. So there is lots of information, handouts, and also through the website, they have constant coronavirus updates posted on their website. Now, when it comes to the hospital setting, we have a screener who does that education in person with the patient. So what they do is they screen for symptoms. They screen by also using a non-touch temperature check, and they will provide a mask if that person does not enter with one. However, all visitors are advised to bring and wear their own masks prior to entering the building. So those individuals that are coming to visit the hospital are educated and screened. Now, towards our end-of-life COVID-19 visitation, we actually have measures in place to provide that PPE that's necessary for a meaningful experience. So that includes gowns and gloves, and again, the mask that is provided. So we really are trying to make a difference for our community and enhance everyone's experience once they do come here. But it's a challenge, and and I am surprised, just as you are, that they haven't detailed more about what visitation would look like for hospitals, because that's a big deal.
Well, I know it also, in doctors' offices, some of the doctors are preferring to, are giving you an option of coming in to visit personally or having a telephone call.
That's correct.
And I think that was really a unique experience, talking to your doctor on the telephone. It's very strange. Very strange.
Yeah, it is a whole different experience getting on to a video conference or a phone conference with your doctor. I've been witness to some of those encounters from our colleagues here, and telehealth is. I suspect it's probably here to stay at this point as an option for our consumers.
Really?
Well, I think it'll be continued to a certain degree because there are limitations to teleconferencing as well. But I do feel comfortable that some of our older adults, we can talk to them. I usually put out the statistic that 80% of what I do is through my history, 20% through my physical when I'm interacting with patients. So there's a 20% chance, because I'm not doing an actual physical exam, I am asking patients for their vital signs, for them to give me their blood pressure, give me their pulse, give me their temperature, things like that. Right. But for the most part, it's just the history taking, which, if you have a good historian, that can weed out and dissect through some of the problems they might be having. But there are some things where you have to do a neurologic exam, push on the abdomen, listen to the heart, and there are certain elements of physical findings that you might not be able to attain in terms of evolving your whole evaluation of the patient, and that can be missed. So there are going to be some limitations. We have to accept that for the moment. I think a year from now we will be okay with seeing doctors again in their offices and doing histories and physicals. But for right now, we have to accept the limitations because of the fear that some of our patients can contract this illness and have a fatal outcome. So we just have to be careful.
Yeah.
I hope
that this is a very individualized process. This can't be provided to every single person on every single in every single situation. It has to be very individualized.
Yeah, it does. Right. And seeing people face to face that's my one thing. If I couldn't see people and talk with them, I don't know what would happen to me. I guess that's because I'm an extrovert. At least that's what I've been told.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
But that's better than being an introvert, because when you're an introvert, you're sometimes angry, and I don't know. I don't like introversion. Staying within yourself,
Intro or extro, no matter what, we're all facing the same thing. We're not being able to see our loved ones on visitation in the hospital. We're not able to see our doctors in the office. But you know, we have adapted. The world has adapted, and I am kind of proud for all the things that are going on as we look back 5, 10, 15 years about this pandemic. We'll be able to say this is what we needed to do to get back to normal. Some things we didn't do, some things we did, and my thought is let's take this as a learning experience and move it forward. And as we do, we take the things that work, use them later, and the things that didn't work, put them behind us. So the next time, the next generations, whenever it happens again, that a virus develops that we can't handle or we haven't had as an illness and have no immunity to, that we will be able to handle it in a different and maybe even a better way than we've handled this one. That's what I'm looking toward.
Oh, me too.
Well, it's interesting because as time goes on, people learn more, whether they intend to or not. With so much that's being thrown at us through television, through social media of all kinds, people are going to learn, whether they want to or not, or whether they're trying to ignore it. That's what's going to happen because of all of the interaction that's around us.
Mm-hmm. But I just love the fact that we as human beings can adapt to this ongoing problem. This is the challenge that we face. And, you know, I want to make sure that generations down the line will look at us and say, wow, look how my grandfather and my grandmother handled this problem. Look what they did and how they did it, how wonderful they were able to cope with this. And when they see their problems that they're facing, they'll say, oh, my grandmother and my grandfather, they did this and they made it through and they survived. I want them to be proud of us. That's how I look at this. So yeah, we better learn from this. That's what I'm hoping that we will. If we don't, then they'll look at us and say, it's too bad Grandpa didn't do the right thing at that point. We're going to do the right thing now. I'm hoping that we don't hear that from them if we're around, or they don't say that about us in the future. That's what we're working on right now.
Well, that's a mouthful, Dr. Dorio.
I think you make some really great points. I think you make some really great points because we are trying to set an example for our younger generations, and it's how we're managing things now. Perhaps. I'm not going to bring in any politics, but the debate doesn't really show how I'd like to see future handlings of the election. But you know, this is you have to learn the good and the bad from every experience. And,
that's right. And that's what helps us move forward. It really does.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
that's right, Barb.
It makes us all better.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't like better? Wouldn't you agree? Better is better. And it looks like we're going to take another break, okay? I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
Join us this fall for online fun with the Canyon Theater Guild online youth workshops. Super fun classes with acting, singing, dancing, audition tips, script writing, scene study, improv, and putting on real shows created for online performance. Get creative, meet new friends, and most of all, have a blast from the comfort of your own home. Call 661-799-2702 or ctgworkshops@gmail.com or canyontheater.org.
And now, a cooking tip from Keith Mowry from Bob's Country Meats. Ribs were made for the barbecue, but here's a great cooking tip.
The best way I like to cook the ribs is in the oven, cover them about an hour, 350, then put them on the barbecue for about 15 to 20 minutes, turn them a few times just to get them nice and brown.
Ribs, chicken, tri-tip, pork chops, turkey, steaks, even exotic game like buffalo and ostrich. For the tastiest ribs in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
Denny & Company, LLP, helps small to medium-sized businesses with their tax and accounting needs. With over 55 years of public accounting experience among them, Denny & Company's partners are familiar with a large number of business types, tax situations, and business consulting needs ranging from individuals, families, trusts and estates, corporations, partnerships, and limited liability companies in many different industries and professions. The partners and staff of Denny & Company, LLP are always friendly, helpful, responsive, and are experienced in representing individuals and businesses like yours with all kinds of government agencies, banks, attorneys, and more. They are your hometown CPA firm. Why go all the way to Century City or Encino to pay top dollar for the same level of services you can get right here in Santa Clarita? Denny & Company, LLP. CPAs that make life less taxing. Call 286-8860. Call 286-8860.
Paid for by Scott Wilk for State Senate. Every year, it gets harder to earn a decent living. No matter how unaffordable life is, Sacramento's special interest and their pet candidates always want more of our hard-earned money. Candidates like Kip Muller. 'Cause Kip thinks he knows better than you. We know Kip Muller wants to gut Prop 13's property tax protections, making life more expensive for homeowners and crushing small businesses. Kip thinks he knows better than you. And we know Kip Muller supports making rideshare and other gig jobs illegal, throwing millions out of work, and doubling the price of our health care. Kip thinks he knows better than you. We know Kip Muller. He's a know-it-all, pushing the same Sacramento policies that make it hard to live a middle-class life. Kip knows better than you. Sing it again. Kip Muller thinks he knows better than you.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with Dr. Marwa Kilani, who is a palliative care doctor. Dr. Kilani, what does palliative care mean?
Palliative care is a medical specialty that provides treatment and care to those with serious illness. So if you could think of any type of serious illness, we can provide that extra support. It's what we consider we call ourselves the tree huggers of medicine because we're very holistic, we're very whole person driven. So we not only take care of the physical ailments, the symptoms of that serious illness, but we also provide that psychosocial support, spiritual support, and emotional support. So it's a team approach.
Well, do these teams go into homes?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, that is the biggest growing aspect of palliative care is within the community setting. And most of that is a home-based program. So it's provided by a nurse, a physician, oftentimes a social worker, and if you have a faith-based program like Providence is a Catholic faith-based program, we also provide a chaplain. So it's very whole person driven, and it provides great service. And this is in addition to the ongoing treatments that a patient would be receiving.
So how rewarding have you found being in this field, Marwa? I know you enjoy it immensely, but this is not a new field like surgery or cardiology. I mean, an old field like that. It's a new field. Yeah. And how do you perceive what you are doing that gets you revved up and going every day?
You know, I've been doing this for 10 years because I just took my recertification boards last week. And every day I think about how I can impact somebody's lives on a daily basis. Every morning I wake up and think about whose life am I going to enhance? And it just feels so rewarding to be able to listen to a person's story and their journey with their disease process, how it's affected them, and how can I, as a palliative care provider, enhance that journey, make that journey better for them, whether it is just sitting and listening to them and providing that emotional support, or is it actually providing them remedies to make their pain better or their symptoms better. And it is just I walk away every day feeling so rewarded and so honored to be a part of that person's journey. It's different than when I practiced internal medicine and hospital medicine. This is a whole nother aspect of healthcare.
And you know what you provide is to assure that patients, their loved ones and caregivers around them are not alone in this, that there is now understanding of the road that is being taken, and that the suffering that could come along with this is minimized to a high degree and understood. So this is not something that you can snap your fingers and it's easy to do, but it is something that we have now discussed, looked at, and individualized to help so many of our seniors get through the end of their life, which is really important, isn't it?
Right, and it doesn't have to be, the end days or months, but this could be going on for some years, and we don't want our seniors to have to struggle or to, see that their life is shortening inadvertently. We want to make sure that they're living as long as possible, but as best as possible. And sometimes we need to tweak a few things so that we can do that for them. So I don't know. I don't know how I fell into this. I'm very grateful to have gone down this journey, but it has made a huge difference for myself, and I hope I've impacted enough people and and made a difference. So.
And you know what? What you're doing is you have a purpose in life. That's what you're saying. You have a purpose in life, and you have had, at least in this area, for what did you say, 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
But when you wake up in the morning and you sometimes remember all of the chaos going on around, then you think, wait a minute, I have this to do today, and I have this person to see today, and wow, I'm alive and I'm living. And I'm glad I am.
And not only supplied and given information for end of life and working in palliative care, but for helping those get through a part of life which is unknown to them, and sharing those 10 years of experience and knowledge to help them along with it. You're doing a wonderful job, Dr. Kilani, for doing all the things you do at Holy Cross and helping the Santa Cruz community as well. And we really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So much. Thanks for having me again. And,
yes.
I look forward to talking to you guys soon.
That's wonderful. Take care of yourself, Dr. Kilani.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. And the next time, I'm actually going to come to the studio. I've decided.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful, because I'm here. I love coming here.
Yeah.
Dr. Marwa Kilani, Palliative Care from Holy Cross Hospital. We are sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care, Advanced Audiology, and Santa Cruz Hearing Center. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.